When Broken Becomes Beautiful, the power of sharing your story. Welcome to a journey of transformation, vulnerability, and profound human connection. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Eulitta Langley, a visionary whose work has transformed countless lives through the radical power of storytelling and vulnerability. Eulitta isn't just another self help guru, she's a revolutionary who has fundamentally changed how we understand healing, community, and the human experience. Through her groundbreaking work with marginalized communities and her fearless advocacy for emotional transparency, she has created safe harbors for those navigating life's most turbulent storms. What struck me most about my conversation with Yulita was her unwavering belief that our darkest moments can become our greatest sources of light, not just for ourselves, but for others walking similar paths. This insight isn't merely philosophical, it's transformative. Have you ever noticed how we're taught to hide our scars, to cover our wounds, to smile through our pain? We live in a culture obsessed with perfection and polished narratives, social media feeds filled with highlight reels, job interviews where we transform our biggest weaknesses into strengths, family gatherings where we dodge questions about our real struggles. But what if our most powerful gift to the world isn't our perfection, but our willingness to be broken openly? I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine a world where we don't hide our struggles but share them, where vulnerability isn't seen as weakness but as courage, where our scars aren't shameful but sacred, testaments to our resilience and humanity. This is what Eulitta Langley's work has illuminated so brilliantly. The truth that when we share our unfiltered stories, especially as Black women who've been conditioned to be strong at all costs, we create ripples of healing that extend far beyond ourselves. I remember sitting across from Yulita, watching her eyes light up as she shared story after story of women who found freedom not by hiding their wounds, but by speaking them aloud. Women who discovered that dropping the Superwoman cape wasn't weakness, it was the most radical form of self love. Your story is still unfolding, she told me, and even the darkest moments can become sources of beauty and strength. Let that sink in for a moment. The chapter you're living through right now, the one that feels impossible, unbearable, perhaps even shameful, could become the very thing that saves someone else, the very thing that reminds another soul they're not alone. Consider Bazoma St. John. Many know her as the powerhouse executive who's held top positions at Netflix, Apple Music, and other major companies. What fewer people know is the profound grief journey that shaped her leadership. In 2013, Bazoma lost her husband to cancer. Within weeks, she returned to work, climbing corporate ranks while raising her daughter as a single mother. From the outside, she appeared to be handling it all with grace, the strong Black woman who could weather any storm. But inside, she was drowning. It wasn't until Bazoma made the courageous choice to speak openly about her grief, to let her vulnerability become visible, that her own healing truly began. She stepped onto stages like this one and shared her raw truth. She wrote about the messy reality of loss. She allowed herself to be seen not just as a polished executive, but as a human being navigating profound pain. And something remarkable happened. Thousands of people, particularly Black professionals facing their own personal crises, found permission to acknowledge their suffering. Conversations about grief in professional spaces expanded. A new standard for emotional honesty at work emerged. By sharing her story, Bozoma didn't diminish her power, she amplified it. She didn't weaken her leadership, she transformed it. This is what Eulitta Langley means when she says that transparency and sharing our struggles empowers both us and others. It breaks isolation and builds community. We are not meant to heal alone. Let me say that again. We are not meant to heal alone. Yet, how many of us try to do exactly that? How many of us, especially as Black women, have been conditioned to handle everything privately, to keep our struggles hidden, to maintain the image of having it all together? Minda Harts knows this pressure intimately. As a Black woman navigating corporate America, she encountered microaggressions, exclusion from networks, and lack of mentorship opportunities. For years, she endured these workplace traumas in silence, believing that speaking up would only make things worse. But the isolation of suffering alone became its own kind of prison. When Minda finally decided to write candidly about her experiences in her book, The Memo, she wasn't just telling her story, she was creating a lifeline for countless other Black women professionals who thought they were the only ones experiencing these challenges. Her transparency sparked policy changes around reporting discrimination and harassment. It normalized honest dialogue about hardship within professional circles. It created communities where women could finally say, "This happened to me too, and it wasn't right, and I'm not crazy for feeling hurt by it." This is the power of shared stories. They transform individual pain into collective healing. But let's be honest, sharing our struggles isn't easy. It requires courage, vulnerability, a willingness to be seen in our incompleteness. And sometimes the hardest stories to tell are the ones where we've experienced betrayal or violation at the deepest levels. Tarana Burke understood this when she founded the Me Too movement long before it became a viral hashtag. Working with young survivors of sexual violence, particularly Black women from marginalized backgrounds, she recognized that healing begins when people know they are not alone. The simple words, "me too," became a bridge between isolation and community, a way of saying, "I see you, I believe you, your experience matters, and you are not defined by what happened to you." Burke created safe spaces where stories could be shared without judgment or retaliation. She advocated for legislative reforms that amplified survivor voices, and she did all this with a focus on empathy and calm reassurance rather than sensationalism. The result? Millions found solidarity. Policy shifts emerged regarding sexual harassment reporting and protection. Cultural perceptions about betrayal and recovery transformed, and marginalized voices, particularly those historically excluded, moved to the center of the conversation. All because one woman understood that shared stories have the power to change not just individual lives, but entire systems. This brings us to the third powerful insight from my conversation with Eulitta Langley. Helping others, especially when you're struggling yourself, can be a powerful catalyst for healing and growth. There's something almost magical about this truth. When we're in pain, our instinct is often to turn inward, to focus exclusively on our own healing. And sometimes that's exactly what we need to do. But there comes a point in many healing journeys where reaching out to support others facing similar challenges becomes a crucial part of our own recovery. It's like that moment on an airplane when the flight attendant tells you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Yes, secure your mask first, but then help the person next to you. Each of the remarkable women I've mentioned today, Bozoma St. John, Minda Harts, Tarana Burke, found that supporting others through similar struggles accelerated their own healing in profound ways. When Bozoma created initiatives supporting women of color in tech and media industries, she wasn't just changing the landscape for others, she was finding purpose in her pain. When Minda built supportive communities through speaking tours and webinars focused on mental health and resilience among marginalized groups, she wasn't just empowering others, she was reclaiming her own voice. When Tarana established new norms around transparency and healing after trauma, she wasn't just redefining survivor advocacy, she was continuing to heal herself. This is the beautiful paradox that Eulitta Langley's work illuminates. Sometimes the very thing we need most, healing, strength, hope, comes through giving it away to others. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about toxic positivity or forcing ourselves to find the silver lining in genuine trauma. It's not about rushing to help others before we've attended to our own wounds. And it's certainly not about minimizing real pain or injustice. It's about recognizing that our stories, especially our stories of survival and resilience, are powerful medicine, both for ourselves and for others. So here's my challenge to you: stop hiding, stop pretending, stop carrying the weight of your struggles alone. Today, right now, make a commitment to share one piece of your story with someone you trust. It doesn't have to be your deepest wound or your most painful memory. Start small if you need to, but start, write it down, speak it aloud, create art from it. Find the medium that feels right for you, but release it from the prison of silence. And then when you're ready, look for someone else who might be walking a similar path. Reach out your hand. Say the words they need to hear. Me too. I understand. You're not alone. Because here's what I know to be true: your broken places are not your failures, they are not your shame. They are the very spaces where light enters, where wisdom grows, where compassion deepens, where your unique gift to the world takes shape. In a world obsessed with perfection, your willingness to be authentically human, broken and beautiful at once, is revolutionary. It's healing. It's necessary. Your story matters, not despite its painful chapters, but because of them. So tell it, share it, let it breathe in the light. Because when broken becomes beautiful, we all find our way home. Thank you.